You're hiking a trail you've walked a dozen times, and you spot a shape in the grass up ahead. Your body reacts before your brain even finishes the sentence, "Is that a stick or a snake?" Heart rate spikes, feet stop, breath catches, and only after all that does the thought arrive. Oh, it's just a stick. You didn't decide to be afraid. Something older than you decided for you. And that raises a genuinely strange question, because you've never been bitten by a snake, never been taught snake danger in any formal class, yet some part of you reacted like your life depended on getting that guess right. So how did ancient humans, with no field guides, no nature documentaries, no park ranger warning signs, actually learn which animals would kill them, and which ones were just background noise? The answer isn't just trial and error. It goes a lot deeper than that. Let's start with the theory that changed how scientists think about fear itself. For decades, psychologists assumed all fear was learned. You touch a hot stove, you learn stoves are dangerous, simple as that. But researcher Arne Öhman and his colleagues ran a series of experiments starting in the 1990s that complicated this completely. They showed people images of snakes and spiders alongside images of flowers and mushrooms, pairing some images with a mild electric shock. Participants learned to fear the snakes and spiders almost instantly, and that fear was remarkably hard to unlearn. But fear of the flowers and mushrooms, even when shocked, faded fast. The conclusion was startling. Humans appear to be biologically primed to fear certain animals faster than others, regardless of personal experience. In other words, some fear didn't have to be taught at all. It came pre-installed. But here's where it gets strange. If some danger recognition is built in, why do toddlers reach for wasps, poke at snakes, and try to pet every strange animal they meet with zero hesitation? Shouldn't a 2-year-old just instinctively know a scorpion is bad news? Turns out, the wiring isn't a finished blueprint. It's more like a spring-loaded trap waiting for a trigger. Researchers, including psychologist Vanessa LoBue, have run studies showing that very young children don't automatically fear snakes and spiders, but they detect them faster than other objects in visual search tasks, almost like their attention system is pre-tuned to notice these shapes even before fear kicks in. The fear itself gets switched on through experience and observation, but the noticing comes first, built into the hardware. So ancient toddlers weren't born knowing a viper was lethal. They were born watching everyone around them flinch first, and paying very, very close attention when they did. Now here's the part nobody talks about. A huge amount of ancient danger knowledge wasn't discovered firsthand at all, because firsthand discovery of this animal is lethal tends to only happen once, and it tends to end badly. Instead, anthropologists studying hunter-gatherer societies have documented something called social referencing, watching the reactions of trusted adults to determine whether something is safe. If your mother froze and grabbed your arm at the sight of a shape in the brush, you didn't need to personally test whether that shape bit. Her fear became your fear instantly, without a single scar required. Psychologist Susan Mineka's classic studies with lab-raised monkeys found something remarkable here too. Monkeys that had never seen a snake in their lives developed an intense, lasting fear of snakes after watching just one video of another monkey reacting fearfully to one. One observation. That's all it took. Ancient danger education wasn't a lecture. It was a room full of terrified faces, and you were paying very close attention to every single one of them. But wait, what about animals that don't look dangerous at all? A poison dart frog is small, bright, almost cartoonishly cute. A cone snail looks like a decorative shell you'd want to pick up on a beach. Surely instinct and observation can't cover every hidden threat, especially the quiet, sneaky, unglamorous ones. And this is a fair challenge because it's true. Instinctive fear systems are heavily biased toward obvious threats. Fangs, size, sudden movement, the shapes evolution has had the longest time to encode. Cryptic dangers, the quiet ones, required something else entirely. Accumulated cultural knowledge, passed down deliberately across generations, refined through generations of trial, error, and yes, occasionally tragedy. This is where oral tradition stopped being just entertainment and became a survival manual. Elders didn't just tell stories for fun around the fire. They were transmitting a curated, hard-won library of here's what looks harmless and absolutely is not, updated and corrected with every single generation that lived long enough to pass the knowledge on. And that detail changes the whole picture, because it means ancient danger knowledge wasn't really about individual bravery or luck at all. It was a group project spanning centuries. A grandmother who survived a scorpion sting teaches a caution that outlives her by decades. A hunter who watched a companion die from a seemingly harmless plant teaches a warning that saves a stranger he'll never meet. A single terrified glance at a hidden predator becomes a story, becomes a rule, becomes an instinct into a child who will one day pass it into their own. No single person had to learn everything the hard way. The tribe learned collectively, painfully, slowly, and then simply handed the finished lesson to the next generation for free. That's really the heart of it. Danger knowledge wasn't stored in any one brain. It was stored in the group itself, distributed across every elder, every story, every flinch witnessed by a watching child. A living archive that updated itself every time someone survived something new or didn't think about how differently that compares to how we learn danger today. If you want to know whether a mushroom is poisonous, you Google it, and within 4 seconds a stranger's blog post, written by someone you've never met and will never verify, tells you whether you live or die tonight. We've outsourced danger knowledge to search engines and comment sections. Ancient humans outsourced it to people who had personally watched each other nearly die, refined over generations, filtered by trust, tested repeatedly against reality. Ours is faster. Theirs was arguably more reliable, because bad information back then tended to get corrected fast, brutally, and permanently. Now, it's worth being honest about the limits of this system too, because it wasn't flawless, and plenty of ancient people absolutely got it wrong. Cultural knowledge sometimes carried superstition alongside accuracy. Some genuinely dangerous animals were considered safe due to misidentification, and some harmless animals were feared irrationally for generations because of a single bad story that never got corrected. Snakebite remains, even today, a serious global health issue, with the World Health Organization estimating around 1.8 to 2.7 million venomous snakebite cases occur every year worldwide. A reminder that even with modern medicine, humans still regularly misjudge which animals are dangerous until it's too late. So this isn't a claim that ancient humans had some flawless, mystical animal sensing ability. They didn't. They had a system that was pretty good, culturally reinforced, biologically assisted, and still occasionally tragically wrong. But here's what made their system resilient even when individual guesses failed: redundancy. Instinct caught the obvious threats fast. Observation caught what instinct missed. Culture caught what observation missed. 3 overlapping layers, each covering the gaps the others left open, refined across thousands of years by a species that couldn't afford to keep making the same mistake twice. Compare that to how casually a lot of us treat animal danger today. Reaching to pet a friendly-looking wild animal because it went viral on a beach somewhere, with 0 inherited caution and 0 elders standing nearby to grab our arm before we do something spectacularly stupid. So no, ancient humans didn't have some mystical sixth sense for danger, and they definitely weren't fearlessly wrestling every predator that crossed their path with pure instinctive confidence. They were built with a head start, a nervous system pre-tuned to notice certain shapes fast, and then they built on top of that head start with watchful eyes, careful elders, and stories sharpened by real loss until the knowledge was almost impossible to get catastrophically wrong. They didn't need Google. They had grandmothers who remembered exactly which shape in the grass to never ever get close to. Now think back to that trail, that shape in the grass, that half second where your whole body reacted before your mind caught up. That flinch wasn't random. It wasn't silly, and it definitely wasn't just anxiety. It was a message forwarded to you across an unbroken chain of humans who flinched at the exact same shape long before you were born, each one passing the warning forward so you'd never have to learn it the hard way yourself. You didn't inherit money. You didn't inherit land. You inherited fear, carefully, deliberately, and it just saved your life again. We didn't lose our instinct for danger. We just forgot how many people it took to build it.